Welcome to another episode of Social PR Secrets. My name is Lisa Beyer and I'll be your host. Today's guest is Cathy Hackl. In this episode, it was originally recorded for my class I taught at University of Florida. Cathy is the author of Marketing New Realities, where she blends her areas of expertise when it comes to public relations, augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. So she gives us a crash course on everything we need to know today and tomorrow when it comes to AR, VR, and MR. Welcome, Cathy, and enjoy the episode. Cathy?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. I had to go ahead and start it immediately because it was going to cancel it out if we didn't start within 5 minutes. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, good. So we're live. How's everybody doing today? So Cathy, thanks so much for being our guest for my class at University of Florida. It's a graduate class and it's Intro to Social Media. And we are on our final stretch of the summer semester.
Wow.
So I thought I'd end on the perfect note and trend of AR, VR, augmented reality, and virtual reality. And Cathy is our guest today, and she's also the author of Marketing New Realities, which is required reading this week. So welcome, Cathy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Lisa. And thanks, hi to everyone.
Yeah. So tell us about what's happening in the world of augmented and virtual reality, and what do social media, if you're in the social media marketing world, what do we need to know? You are the expert.
Well, just a lot going on. If you look at any of the social media companies, whether it's Snapchat or Facebook, they're all investing heavily in virtual reality and augmented reality and what comes next. So as social media professionals or future social media professionals, it's important to kind of stay on top of what they're doing on their roadmap. Right. So for example, Snapchat's betting very heavily on augmented reality. They consider themselves a camera company now. So they're kind of going into what's called camera marketing, and augmented reality is going to be a big part of that part of camera marketing. And then Facebook, they've got Oculus. I think it was $3 billion that they paid for Oculus, and they're also doing a lot of work in the augmented reality side. So one of the latest things that they've unveiled in the news feed is augmented reality ads, where you're actually able to try on glasses in augmented reality or et cetera. So it's evolving and it's changing and it's moving really fast.
It totally is. I mean, even from a year ago, things have changed and keep moving. So, Cathy, tell us a little bit about your background, because I know you're like me. We both come from the PR world and then kind of transitioned. So let the class know how you ended up in virtual reality and augmented reality in the space.
Yeah, definitely. So I was a journalist way back in the day, and I transitioned over to PR and social media about 10 years ago, actually. And I was working in PR and social media, doing a lot of work. I mean, that's like way back in the day with social media. But I got really involved in live video. So I was kind of one of the first people on Periscope, very involved with that. And then through what I was doing there, I got introduced to virtual reality. I mean, I had heard about it, but I hadn't experienced it. And that was about 3 years ago. And ever since I had my first VR experience, I said, this is the future of storytelling. This is the next iteration of what's coming. And I need to be a part of it. So I pivoted really hard and transitioned into the VR AR industry. And, I did gain some technical skills along the way to be able to do what I'm doing. But it's been an interesting, it's been interesting to kind of bridge the VR AR industry with the marketing industry and kind of bring them together. So I'm actually working right now on a chapter for a friend's book on how VR and AR are impacting social media.
So, oh, wow. So can you give us some insights on what that chapter is going to include?
Yeah, definitely. So, as we move towards what was called spatial computing, so that's where you're able to engage with technology in your surroundings. So, as we move towards that, our use of social media is going to change from, flat screens and what I call the rectangles in our hands and on our walls, to actually engaging with content in our real world. So that, from a social media perspective, is going to change the way we do business and the way we connect as well. So it's changing what I say it's changing the future of content and the future of connection.
Interesting. So one of my students is actually she's a meteorologist, and she's taking these couple years, and she's getting her master's in social media. So it just made me think of, like, watching the news and watching the weather, how that could actually, like, virtual reality could, like, actually, like, put you into that immersive experience versus just watching it kind of, right now it's more than flat, but that could be one application, right?
Definitely. And I think, the Weather Channel is doing an amazing job of embracing immersive technology. They call it mixed reality, and they work with the Future Group out of Norway. But they're doing a great job of bringing mixed reality into the studio and showing the audience, making what I call the intangible tangible. So making it easy for people to understand a concept. So instead of having someone say it's a category 4 hurricane has winds of this type, they actually show what the damage can be done, and it's very visual, and I think people will get it a lot more. So it's very exciting. And also, if you look from even let's go beyond weather. If you look, for example, at everything that was done during the World Cup with augmented reality, mixed reality, holograms, and I had been talking about this for a while. Like, I knew the World Cup's going to be one of those places where they're going to put a lot of money and effort into these technologies. There was a TV station in Holland that was able to hologram, and it was pretty good hologram of one of the players that was still in Russia. So he's sitting there, like, in his in sandals and everything, being interviewed on, in studio while he's in Russia, and the people are in Belgium. So if you look at companies, like, there's a company called Vizrt, VIZRT. They've been doing holographic content, way back. They're the ones that did the holograms in, like, the 2016, 2012 elections. I remember, but back then there was some holograms on CNN that a lot of people didn't really like. But they've been doing a lot of really interesting work. So, my computer's about to die. So, so it's been really interesting to watch, kind of TV embrace these new technologies. There's even really simple examples, like NBC's Left Field. If you Google that, they're using virtual reality to bring stories to life. So in one of the stories, which was about passwords, that's a really boring story to tell on television, right? It's going to be, shots of keyboards and computers, etc., right? They use virtual reality to kind of get inside the story, and I wish I could show exactly what I'm talking about, but maybe I can share some links with you, Lisa, and you can share that with folks so that they can get inspired and see how it's being used.
That would be great if you could share those links. So what are some other, for example, at F8, Facebook 8 developer conference that just happened in May, Mark Zuckerberg made another round of announcements on top of what happened, what he announced last year with Facebook Spaces and augmented reality. So can you share some just simple ways if we wanted to just experiment with what's happening right now and accessible right now, and what you see might be even more accessible in 6 months that we should be preparing for?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start with, low-hanging fruit. What's out there right now that you can start cutting your teeth with? There's Snapchat Lens Studio, which anyone can download, and they can start creating their own lenses and filters and 3D animations, and you do not need to know how to code. So that's available to anyone here, especially and if you're already doing social media, download it. It could be something really interesting for your client, right? So that's one. And then Facebook has Facebook's AR Studio, which is a little bit more complex than Lens Studio, but still you can play around with it and kind of get to know what's going on. One of the things I really enjoy about Facebook is 3D posts. So they have a partnership with Sketchfab. So now you can actually get your 3D assets, let's say, or files from Sketchfab, and pull them into the Facebook timeline, and you'll have a 3D post. Eventually, these 3D posts are going to go into augmented reality. So that's kind of exciting. You can also create your own 3D posts in 3D art if you have an Oculus Rift and you're able to do Quill. It's kind of their artistic program app within virtual reality. So that's fun. So those are really low hanging fruit. If you want to go a little bit step further, Amazon has something called Amazon Sumerian, also that anyone can use, and you can create VR and AR content. It's a little bit harder, in all honesty, than I think, Snap, Facebook, then you've got Amazon Sumerian. So definitely those are tools that people can start getting acquainted with right now.
So if we wanted to, if I wanted to give the students an assignment with creating the 3D posts on Facebook, they've all created their own Facebook pages for their personal brand. So what would be the steps for them to be able to do that? Or maybe you can give me a link to
yeah, I mean, I think do they all have Snapchat? Because that might be the easiest assignment would be to have them create their own filter or their own lens or something.
Okay, great.
That might be the easiest one, because 3D posts can get a little complicated because they might need a Rift or they might need to buy something out of Sketchfab.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, great. And what about, I mean, just an easier version, just 360 video and 360 images that, taking a panoramic picture using your iPhone, you can definitely upload that. And then all of a sudden, you're in the 360 world, which is super simple and very underutilized, I'd say right now.
Yeah,
right?
Completely. Definitely, if you go to Facebook, you have the option to do 360 photos. So that's really easy to do. So I do it all the time when I go to anywhere, really. 360 photos, 360 video, you will need a camera. But that's still fun, and you can go live in 360, just like you were going live. You can go in live in 360. So that's been used a lot, in the entertainment industry or like award shows or what have you. So, that's easy. So another assignment could be like do a 360 photo of, what have you. And the 360 photos now have audio as well on Facebook. So you can kind of include the audio, let's say for a concert or something. So.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And how about Facebook Spaces? When will we be able to create our own avatar? I know if we have certain equipment, we can, but when do you think it'll be a little bit more accessible to?
That's a good question, because people, I think when the Oculus Go, which is the $200 headset, came out, people were going to be like, oh, Facebook Spaces is going to run on this. And the reality is that you still need a really good graphics card to run Facebook Spaces. So the Oculus Go doesn't accommodate for that. So I still, you still need to wait a little bit longer for that. If you want to do Spaces, you have to have the Rift, and you have to have, VR ready PC with a good graphics card, 980 and up. So it's really going to depend, probably in the next couple of years, as the chips, like NVIDIA is about to unveil some amazing, graphics cards and chips. So it'll, the price will go down for sure. But it's exciting, you can currently customize your avatar in Spaces and kind of make it fun, So a friend and I were joking about how the jobs of the future, one of them is going to be like avatar stylist. To help you customize your avatar, right? So
maybe you can share some videos with us of you in Facebook Spaces with your avatar. That would be great.
Definitely,
just to give everybody a visual of what you would look like as your avatar in Facebook Spaces. And
the avatars have gotten better. The avatars have gotten better, so you can definitely tell the difference from the first ones to the ones you can actually customize now. So
right, and you can check out. I'll put links, everybody. And if anybody's watching live, please feel free to put some questions in the comments for Cathy. That's, she's here, she can answer them, or you could put them later and we can come back and answer them. But we can still, I'll put links to Facebook Spaces. You can still just at least go to that URL and check it out without having to have a headset or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, good. Yay. So I was just talking about so the assignment of your book that I couldn't assign the whole book because it's a lot, but everybody has the book if they want to read it. So basically it was the future, so brand engagement, and also section 5, like novelty versus necessity, and the next dimension, and just your conclusion. But what I didn't get to what I was asking you before you went, we lost you, was just to give us some samples. So you're working for You Are Here, which is a company specializing in immersive realities and AR, VR, mixed reality business applications. So what are some of the examples that You Are Here has been working on or has worked on that would be, examples that we could highlight?
Yeah, definitely. Maybe not so much for social media, but for practical application. We are the ones that helped Porsche get started with augmented reality. So we created their first proof of concept for with the Microsoft HoloLens for mixed reality, where you're able to see a Porsche and kind of start designing it. And then we ported that into into iOS with Apple's AR kit when it launched. So, basically what it was is you were able to pull in, different model of Porsche and place it in your reality and customize the color and the inside and everything. So it was a proof of concept that kind of merged, that kind of it became a marketing, opportunity.
Right.
So very
exciting. You could basically build a Porsche through the app.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the 3D app or
like it would get placed in your reality, and you can customize the color, and you can customize the what type of leather you wanted in the inside, what color, that sort of thing. So it was originally created as a way for high income folks that if, for example, you are someone that's a high earner and you want to get a Porsche that's customized to your liking. It normally would take someone about 2 days in a dealership to do so. Right. So these people don't have 2 days, really. You would think they would, but they don't. But so the reason they created this was to kind of make it easier for them when they go into the dealership to do this process of customizing their Porsche and make it faster. So, if you're actually able to visualize it, you don't have to go through, books with swaths of like fabric. We're actually able to see the Porsche, see what it would look like in the best, closest representation you can to reality. It speeds up the process. So that's kind of the initial reason why this project got started.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really cool project. And then there's also all of these types of applications, like especially for nonprofits, that really show the empathy, bring in the empathy side. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Definitely. In all honesty, I'm kind of a fan of using the word compassion instead of empathy. 100% in all honesty, because I feel that empathy just makes me feel bad for someone. Compassion actually makes me want to do something about it. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So when we use the word empathy in the VR AR industry all the time, but it's been proven, and it's been done several times. It's been proven by nonprofits that if you put the headset on, for example, there was in the United Nations, they had Clouds Over Cedar, which is a 360 experience where people are transported to Syria, and they follow Cedra, who's a 12-year-old who's now in a refugee camp. So they showed that at the UN at one of their meetings, and the reaction afterwards was, just a lot of awareness and reality, bringing this to the forefront. Like, wow, I was there. Like, I saw what Syria is becoming. I saw the conditions in this refugee camp, and it creates this kind of connection. It makes it real in some ways. So it's able to transport you somewhere you haven't been.
Yeah.
So so it creates the sense of presence. The word is presence, the sense of presence in something that you might have not cared about before. So for me personally, when I had that first VR experience, it was confinement by the Guardian, which puts you in a 6x9 solitary confinement cell where prisoners spend about 90% of their time. So I would say, literally within 3 to 4 minutes, I was completely claustrophobic, took the headset off, and I said, wow, like it made me feel something that I hadn't felt before. So, it's very powerful technology.
Yeah. Another example that I love is just, is VR, the new press kit. So with journalists, and if you're in the PR industry and you're trying to pitch a story, rather than sending the press kit, now you might send the headset or bring the journalist into, really feeling and understanding whether it's the product, the service, the story, so that he or she feels like they're actually immersed within it and can really understand it and write about it and share it.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm actually personally working on a world first for the PR industry, which I'm really excited about, that we're going to be launching at the PRSA's International Conference.
Ooh, can you give us any hints?
There might be some holograms involved.
Ooh, okay.
So we'll see.
When will that be?
October 7th in Austin. So it'll be very exciting. I can't really share too much because I'm working with the client right now to kind of release that, but it'll be the next iteration of a lot of the ways we do PR. So I'm very excited about it.
Okay, so follow Cathy Hackl on Twitter, because that's where probably the news will be breaking.
And connect on LinkedIn as well, guys. Connect on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn, Twitter, and I'll be teaching this class in the fall, so we'll be following along and watching for that breaking news. But for those of you that are finishing this class, still continue this journey and follow Cathy through this. Just what's happened in the past 12 months. You know, each conference that you speak at, it's building and building and building on what this is really meaning to really, the consumer, business to business, social media, nonprofits, education. I mean, it's just every industry, can really be impacted.
Yeah, every industry is going to get touched by this. If you think about it, and let's get away from the novelty of how cool it is. This is the next computing platform. This is and to all of you guys that are listening and you're doing social media, if this is the time to get into the virtual reality and augmented reality industry. If people would have told folks, brands, mobile is the next hot thing, many companies back in the day were like, oh no, that's never going to happen. Right? No, the VR and AR is the next computing platform, the next way we will engage with technology. And one of the things you've heard me say is that the reality is that content is shifting, content is expanding beyond content that is flat and 2D. That's, it's still 2D flat content will still be there, but it's expanding beyond the 2D content that is 360, 3D, holographic, and augmented. So it's a really exciting time for anyone in social media marketing, content marketing, to really come on board this industry.
Definitely. So just one last question. So if somebody wanted to continue the education in AR, VR, what are some sources besides, you're a great source, but association sources, publications that we can follow?
Definitely. So, definitely connect with me. I'm kind of one of those people who's always like sharing all this information out, trying to make sense of it. So that's one. Definitely a couple of books that are coming out. My second book is going to be coming out in the fall as well. It's called Augment Your Marketing. It's purely focused on augmented reality, mixed reality, and marketing. So content marketing, social media marketing, you name it. And then, if you're looking for free resources, read what, follow Upload VR, VR Voice, VR Scout. They're always covering the industry. And there's also in Coursera, there's an Introduction to Augmented Reality free course from Google. So if that's something that people are interested in, that's a free course that it's available to anyone.
And you know what? I should have asked this question in the beginning, but you're really good at kind of dumbing this down. So the difference between AR, VR, and MR.
Yeah. So very simple. This is the easiest way I found the way to explain it. So virtual reality creates new worlds. And what I mean by that is that when you put on a headset, you're not in you're in the real world. You're transported to a different world that could be a 360 video, that could be a CGI, virtual environment. It could be many different things in the headset, but it's a new world, let's say, separate from your world. And it is fully immersive. When you look up and down to the sides, you're able to see this new world. And depending on the hardware you have, you're able to walk around it. Okay, so virtual reality creates new worlds. Augmented reality adds to your world. Its simplest example, Pokemon Go or Snapchat. You pull up your phone, you open up the app, you place it, all of a sudden there's a Pokemon, there's Pikachu right in front of you. So that's a digital element that's overlaid over the real world, adding to your world, right? Same thing with Snapchat. You pull up the phone and you have a lens and all of a sudden, you're vomiting rainbows. Same thing. That's not really happening. That can't really happen, but you're adding to your world. You're adding this layer to your world. And then mixed reality is kind of a step further. And there's a lot of discussion as to what it means and what it, mixed. Microsoft uses it in their branding for their products. But mixed reality, the way I see it is when these virtual and augmented elements in your real world, you're actually able to interact with them. And they're able to map your space and they're able to know what's around them. So
holograms would be
holograms are mixed reality. Yeah, holograms are mixed reality. But for example, if I pull up my phone right now and I play Pokemon Go, Pikachu's going to be there, but Pikachu doesn't know there's a table there, or Pikachu doesn't know there's a chair there, right? Or my counter's there, what have you. Yeah. But in mixed reality, the technology does spatial mapping and it maps your surroundings. And Pikachu knows that he can't stand there because there's a table, or that he needs to stand on top of the table. So, it's kind of that next iteration in how you're able to engage with this, these virtual and augmented reality elements.
That's awesome. So one really cool thing that's happening to me, that might be happening to me, is I applied to be part of this beta group that's going to be teaching meditation or yoga through virtual reality.
That's
So
exciting. Oh, wow.
Sacred VR. So I applied, and I just got word yesterday that they want to talk to me. So I don't know if it'll actually happen, but that would be so cool if I could be part of this beta group to teach meditation and yoga through virtual reality.
Awesome. If you need me to put in a good word, always,
yes.
I'd be happy to. No, the technology is extremely useful. With post-traumatic stress disorder, it's proven to help people. Even the opioid crisis, they're starting to use it now to treat addicts. Burn victims, when they're changing their bandages, they would have put the headset on and be transported to a winter wonderland, and it does two things. It distracts the person, and it also, because it is a cold environment, it tricks your brain into feeling a little bit colder than it really is. So there's a lot of amazing applications for this technology that are world changing and that are truly helpful.
And I think it's fair to say that the users are more advanced than the businesses actually putting it out there. So we're now expecting these virtual. I just went to the Salvador Dali Museum over the weekend, and they had the whole virtual reality experience. So it's not anything new to go somewhere and there's a virtual reality experience there. It's just it's almost like the public is like, yeah, we have virtual reality.
Yeah, I think consumers are starting to really enjoy it, but right now it's still at the point back in the let's say in the 90s where people had to go to arcades to play Pac-Man. We're still there where you have to go somewhere to actually use this technology, because most people don't have a super a VR ready PC at home, or they're not going to buy a Vive and set up all the space that they need. So we're still at that stage where you have to go. It's called location-based entertainment, where you go to a location to be entertained using these technologies, right? But that's slowly going to shift towards more consumer. Eventually, we're all going to have these things at home, and they're going to be super high quality. So.
Yeah, and what I understand, so the Sacred VR that I'm going to be possibly combining, so they're part of AltSpace VR, where
that's great. Yeah.
So you can actually experience it without having to have a headset. You could do it through any computer, a Mac or a PC. It's not the exact same, but you can at least get a feel for it. So I'll put that link in there too to experience these different events that are happening on that platform.
Yeah, awesome.
How would you describe AltSpace VR?
It's called social VR. It's where you're able to go into virtual reality. So it's more often than not, you're an avatar of something. You could be any avatar, really, and you're able to engage with different people that could be all around the world in virtual reality. So it's actually really fun. I mean, I always enjoy myself when I do social VR. And you'll see, Facebook's going to be pushing social VR as well quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we've just named a bunch of sources where we can just jump right in and experiment with social VR, AR, VR. I'm going to actually also share that video from Microsoft that we saw last year when you were speaking at Orlando, which is really cool. So Cathy, thank you so much. We will continue to follow your path on the AR, VR world and pioneering all of this. And I really appreciate your time. But any other last words of wisdom before we sign off?
Just keep your eyes on Adobe as well and what they're doing. I think most of the people here doing, that are doing social media or marketing have Adobe in their ecosystem already, and they're putting a lot of effort and money into augmented reality as well. So, there's really interesting things down the line. So.
Yeah. And I also think look into events. Cathy, you share a bunch of events that are happening. Different speaking events. So if you have a local one near you, because our students are pretty much spread everywhere, they're not just in Gainesville. We have California, we have DC, we have Austin. So if there's a local AR VR event, go check it out. Just keep learning, right?
Yeah, I'm actually keynoting Orlando IX in about 2 weeks. So that's really exciting, and that's pretty close. So
yeah, so I'm going to try to go to that. If you're near Orlando and that's something you want to try to attend, I'm sure they have student type discounts. Let us know, and we can try to help you out with that. So Cathy, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Social PR Secrets. If you like what you heard, check out the book on Amazon, or follow our blog at socialprsecrets.com. This episode was sponsored by The Buyer Group, a social PR agency striving to keep our balance in the digital world, practicing public relations, social media, and search marketing, while occasionally drinking a glass of wine or two for the best creativity and results. Thank you all for tuning in. If you would like to get a free chapter of Social PR Secrets, go to socialprsecrets.com/free.